the things, when I look back and I say, oh my God, like these were hard things, these were really painful things that has happened. Is it because we got married at age 17 and 18, or is it just because of the lack of knowledge? Hello beauties, welcome to Gems and Pearls with Love. I am so excited to be making this video and finally being able to speak to you guys. It has been a few weeks since I have last posted, and I apologize for that, and I thank you guys for your patience. The past few weeks, life has just been lifing. Like, my kids were sick at one point. We had my parents come visit. My husband and I went to out of town. So it's just been crazy and busy, and that's why, as much as I aim for having one video out a week, I don't promise that to you guys, because I know that things can just get busy. Okay, let me not have you guys waiting any longer. Let's get right into today's video. Today, guys, I am going to be talking to you guys about getting married young. What are my thoughts on that? And my thoughts on it has a lot to do with my own experience. Based on like our culture today, where we live, and 2023, we would be definitely considered as getting married young. I was only 18 at the time, and my husband was 17. So I know you may have saw the cover photo and thought that I was 17, he was 18, but no, I'm actually a year older than my husband. Anyways, so yeah, we definitely got married young, and fast forward to now, we have been married for 12 years and we have 5 children. So I thought that I consider myself pretty qualified. I do at least have some say in this topic, seeing as how I have definitely lived it. So before I get right into it, I thought I should definitely kind of give you guys just a bit of background information, so you know like what led up to the point of us getting married as young as we did. So at the time, we were already living together in a basement apartment. It was just me, my husband, which at the time would have been my boyfriend, and our first child. I was definitely not a Christian at the time. My husband wasn't a Christian. My now husband, which at the time was my boyfriend, that was my first serious relationship. And he's a person that I had lost my virginity to, obviously prior to marriage, hence why I had a child before then. That's a whole nother story for another time. I'm not going to get into all of that, but basically, yeah, just kind of want to give you that kind of background information so you can kind of see where I'm coming from. So if you ever wondered like, oh, how come you ended up having a child before marriage and stuff like that, that's why, because I wasn't a Christian at the time and I didn't know any better. Okay, so basically we got connected to a church, and at the time, this was my understanding. My understanding was that when you want to give your life to your Heavenly Father, you want to, surrender to Christ, you get baptized. That's what you do. That is like that's like the baptism was to show that you are now officially a Christian. My husband and I were at a point where we wanted to be a Christian. We were going to the church for a while, and this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to give our lives to our Heavenly Father. In order to do that, the pastor had some reservations, and I'm trying to remember because it obviously was a long time ago, over 12 years ago, but I believe that it wasn't necessarily the pastor of the church we were really attending to. I think it was somebody else's pastor that we were trying to arrange the baptism. And he basically had told us that he would not be willing to perform the baptism because my boyfriend and I, at the time boyfriend, we were living together unmarried. And obviously, if you're living together unmarried, there's very good chance of fornication to happen, right? Which is what we were living. So in order to truly give your life to the Heavenly Father and live that life, what we were told is that we need to be married, or obviously no longer live together. So because we wanted to give our lives to the Heavenly Father, we wanted to become a Christian, and that was what was standing in the way, we figured, well, you know what, let's just go ahead and get married then. Before all this, like in our minds, we kind of already figured that we were going to spend our lives together. Like that was just kind of an obvious thing to us. We knew that we were going to be together forever and that eventually we were going to get married. But us wanting to become a Christian and live a holy life, that's what kind of rushed the actual act of the marriage. For any of you guys who are wondering, okay, so how did you guys get married? Don't you have to be like both 18 at the bare minimum to get married? Yes, you do. My husband's mother and father had to sign a paper in order to give him permission to get married, which they did that. So yeah, we got married. The first year was very very rough. It was very rough. Like we almost didn't make it through the first year, and then after the first couple of years after that, again, was pretty rough. And honestly, I feel like marriage really got good within the past maybe last 4 years or so, was when our marriage honestly got to the point where it's like, oh, I love being married. It's amazing. Do I regret getting married as young as I did? The answer is definitely not. Absolutely not. And matter of fact, I would do it all over again. I'm gonna tell you guys why. The first reason would be the fact that I was able to keep myself pure. And that might not even be the best choice of words when I say that, especially because obviously if I knew what I know now, I would hope that I wouldn't have had lost my virginity until my wedding night. But obviously that wasn't the case. I didn't know, but I wasn't a Christian, so that wasn't the case. However, even though that is not the case, my husband is still the person that I lost my virginity with, and he's the only person that I have, had sexual relations with. So that's what I mean. That's kind of what I mean by keeping myself pure. And as I said, maybe that's not the best word to choose. I don't really know, but I couldn't think of anything else right at the top of my head because I don't have notes. And this is just me kind of talking to you guys. But yeah, definitely that. Like, I think just the fact knowing that I do not have other intimate times with men to compare it to, so just not having that comparison, I think, to me, I find that as a benefit to me. Of course, I'm not speaking down on anybody who has obviously had different partners. I'm not any better than you. I'm not any more holier than you. Not at all. It's just that for me personally, in my mind, I just feel better knowing that he has been my one and only. And me saying that, I just want to say again, remember, I just want to let you guys know I'm speaking from my personal experience. Another reason why I'm happy that I got married as young as I did was because I think that it helped me to honestly stay away from a lot of the lifestyle that people would say that I would have missed out on. I mean, some people feel that me not being able to have an opportunity to have a long extended life of being a single person, to get to, go to clubs and to be able to do this and do that, a lot of things that people associate with that is the benefit of having a single life and enjoying your younger years being single, are things that I honestly not interested in, and I never really been interested in. I've never really been interested into being a part of the club scene and stuff like that. I don't mind a nice party, but when it comes to actually being in the club and the whole clubbing scene and having that whole single life, it just wasn't something that was appealing to me, really. I don't know if this might come across as weird to say, but I don't know. I just feel that being married young almost just helped me stay out of trouble. I was a married woman, and there was just things that, because as a married woman, that I wasn't part of or wasn't doing, that honestly I felt helped me from having the possible regrets that I would have had. Another reason why I am happy that I got married young is because I absolutely love my husband. He's my best friend, and the fact that I have gotten to have more years of being his wife is absolutely amazing to me. And I love that. I love that I get to have more time with him as his wife. The only thing that I would say that would be negative in terms of when I had gotten married, hadn't gotten married so young, would be, of course, we lacked maturity for sure. And more than maturity, I would say we lacked wisdom. I went into marriage not knowing the first thing about what it means to be a wife, to be honest. All I knew was that, okay, yeah, you have a husband, you have a wife, and you have a family, whatever. Like, I did not know nearly as much as what I currently do know now, what I currently even talk about on this channel as a wife. So, and same thing with my husband. Like, there's so much more that he knows and understands about himself and about marriage and being a husband, and then of course even being a believer. But here's the thing. I wonder if it's really an age thing, or if maybe, like, follow me here right now. Like, what if all the things that my husband and I know now about marriage, these are all things that we were taught. Like, obviously there's some things that we kind of learn based off experience, you know, trial and error type of thing. But majority of what we know are things that have been taught. But whether it's straight from the Bible, whether it's from other, you know, wives and husbands, wise ones, godly ones, or from books. For me, a lot of what I learned, it was from books. If I had spoken to those people, and if I had read those books, I had to wonder, like, maybe my first couple of years in marriage would have been a lot better. Maybe a lot of things that we had went through could have been avoided if we had just had that knowledge. So I wondered to myself, is it really an age thing, or is it just because of the fact that I didn't have that knowledge? Like, maybe if I'm an 18-year-old self, if I was getting taught, maybe not even 18, maybe even younger, let's say, I was getting taught, like, you know, when you're a wife, this is what you are to do, you know, things you do, these are things you don't do. You know, you're supposed to respect your husband, you're supposed to submit to your husband. And my husband, you know, growing up and he was also being taught, like, you know, you need to be a loving leader to your wife, and you have to, you know, provide for your family and whatever the case is. And we were learning about I was learning about being a feminine, godly woman, and he was learning about being a masculine, godly man. I wonder if we were taught that, or maybe even if it was just like a year before marriage, like getting like that counsel, being full with all that knowledge. Not to say we would have had a perfect marriage, of course not, but I have to wonder if our marriage would have went a lot smoother at the beginning. So what I'm trying to say is, the things, when I look back and I say, oh my God, like, these were hard things, these were really painful things that has happened. Is it because we got married at age 17 and 18, or is it just because of the lack of knowledge? I'm honestly leaning towards the lack of knowledge. Like, I really truly think that, although I'm sure, like, I would have made mistakes, although obviously I'm not maybe as mature back then, which again, still wonder if that's an age thing, because we have some really mature young people. There are some really mature young people. Is it really the fact that we got married young that's the issue, or is it just the fact that we got married completely, like, blindsided, without any knowledge, without any guidance in terms of what a marriage should look like? But anyways, overall, I had no regrets. My husband, as far as I know, from what he has told me and from how happy he seems to be on a daily basis, he has no regrets. We are actually happy that we married young. We're happy that we've had so far 12. We are now only, I'm turning 31 next month in August 2023, because I don't know when you're going to see this video. And I'm happy to know that, like, I've had 12 years with this man, and although the first years were rough, I'm happy we made it. I'm happy we went through it. And I have no regrets, and I can see where things could have went really bad, actually, if we had not got married young, to be honest. Again, speaking from my own personal experience and what we've been through. So here I am at age 18, 12 years later. The only thing I wish it was that I knew more back then. Other than that, that's it, guys. I really don't think there's any harm in getting married. We were young, but we grew together. And I think that also, it was the beauty of the journey. The fact that we were growing and maturing in so many different ways together. And am I the same person back then? No. Is he the same person back then? No. But it's still amazing because we get to find out who we are as we grow. This whole thing of growing apart because, you know, we're different people now, I think that in most situations it can possibly just be a choice, because you can choose to grow apart or you can choose to get to know this person again. And that, in fact, that's actually can be very exciting and very fun, getting to know who you're becoming and continuing to love that person. All right, so that is all I have for you guys so far on this topic. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm glad to be back. Until next time, bye-bye.